wonderful church, North Hollywood Religious Science. Welcome to the Heart of Healing. If you are one of our live streamers, please go to the chat and tell us where you're streaming from. We always love to know where you are. For those of you here in person, please take this moment to silence your cell phone. We begin our time together tonight with a pre-service meditation. I invite you to get still, close your eyes. Allow yourself simply to notice your breathing and to be present in this space. If your mind wanders, simply bring it back to this mantra: God's the love that I am. I will bring us out of our meditation in 10 minutes. As our meditation has come to a close, gently bring your awareness back into the surroundings, into your bodies, and as you feel ready, open your eyes. Welcome to those of you who have joined us while our meditation was in progress. We're so glad to have you with us, whether you are online or in person.
Welcome to our Heart of Healing service. If you'd please join us for our congregational song. I am open. I am open. I am open. I am open to receive the love in you and me. I am open. I am open. I am open to receive the love in you and me. Now you are open. You are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me. You are open. You are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me. We are open. We are open. We are open to receive the love in you and me. We are open. We are open. We are open to receive the love in you and me. The love in you and me. The love in you and me. The love in you and me.
Thank you. Beautiful. I just want to say thank God for air conditioning. So I invite you to consider these words. There is a power and presence in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. It is a power for good and a presence of infinite love and peace. Join with me now in the awareness of that power and presence as we begin our service in prayer. In this moment, in this time, and in this place, this beloved place where we are infused, instilled, and uplifted by the divine presence of Spirit that surrounds, supports, sustains, and nurtures all of us just the same. Everybody has no more God and no less God in them than anybody, anywhere, at any time. And so I claim for each of us, children of God, children of the Most High, spiritual descendants, spiritual DNA that runs rampant through our bodies. And I say that we have the capacity and the ability to recognize divine wholeness and infinite wisdom and all the traits and characteristics of a warm, loving presence that we call God. Truth and beauty and joy and happiness, abundant creative expression, ease, beauty and grace. All these things and so much more are our ticket, our entry, our checkout list of whatever it is we want, however it is we want to grab it. All these things and more make it possible for us to be who we want to be. Most of all, loving, kind, compassionate, sincere, loving individuals to each other and most importantly to ourselves, which is how we learn to give. We give to ourselves so we can give to others. And I know that we are the gift that we give to others freely as we give to ourselves, this love and compassion. So I'm grateful tonight for the audio tech and the people that staff this service that help make it possible. I'm grateful to the invaluable musicians, the Susan Edward Martins and her pianist accomplished skills, and Jamie Luna, singer-songwriter that brings the magic of his words and lyrics for us here. We are inspired, infused, and we know that we are held in God's hands in the bosom of love by just being here together and metaphorically lifting one another, holding each other's hands in support of what we already know about ourselves, that we are the children of a Most High and that we are a gift. And so in saying all this, I know that my heart is full of gratitude. I know that I'm joyful in being a part of what goes on here in this church, in this community, and life in general. And I'm supported by this, by the loving power, the presence of all that is possible through the presence, light, and will of God. The will of God will not take you where the power of God will not protect you. So I give this unto the law of mind, saying it so, and together we can say, Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
Amen.
Please join me in reading the statement of our being for July, which you'll find in your program. A little white slip of paper. Is it up there? No. All right. Today I trust the life within me. My life is the magnificent expression of God's joy, creativity, wisdom, and love. I am worthy and blessed because I am divine in creation and limitless in possibility. With every breath, I know who I am, and with every thought, I remember that I am thinking from the mind of God. Therefore, I move in confidence and faith, believing and celebrating the joy that I already am. God goes before me to prepare my way, and I so happily trust the life within me. And so it is. Amen. I think that's it. I have to double check where I am here. Wait. All right. That's it. Kill the mic.
All right, Sam.
All right.
Good evening, y'all.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, this is my freedom song. I get the feeling that I've got to grow. Love keeps me running to the me that God knows. I'm here to be, to express and unfold, emancipating the divine in my soul. Ain't nothing holding me down. I let go of my story, now I'm walking in the arms of freedom. No one ever held me down before. Freedom. I took a look inside. Freedom. Chains can't bind, I changed my mind about freedom. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa. Yeah, I keep moving on now. I know precedent found. My revelation is the spirit I'm bound. The past has no power to paralyze me. I'm in the moment. I bless my history. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ain't nothing holding me down. I let go of my story, now I'm walking in the arms of freedom. No one ever held me down before. Freedom. I took a look inside. Freedom. Chains can't bind, I changed my mind about freedom. What can I do that I'll reveal your spirit? What can I be that I'll reveal your love? What can I say to cure and heal the hunger? What can I pray to be your joy today? Ooh, yeah. Oh, I get the feeling that I've got to grow. Love keeps me running to the me that God knows. I'm in the freedom of love that I grow. I conceal nothing, let your spirit show. Ain't nothing holding me down, no, no. Let go of my story, now I'm walking in the arms of ain't nothing holding me down. I let go of that story, now I'm walking in the arms of ain't nothing holding me down. Yeah, let go of that story, now I'm walking in the arms of freedom. No one ever held me down before. Freedom. I took a look inside. Freedom. Chains can't bind. I changed my mind about freedom. Oh, 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 freedom. No one ever held me down before. Freedom. Oh, take a look inside. Freedom. Chains can't bind. I changed my mind about freedom. Freedom, yeah, yeah, yeah. Freedom.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Wednesday Heart of Healing service. My name is Mark Crowell. I'm a practitioner here, and it's my honor and privilege to be with you tonight and give the message. Hopefully be a channel for something that is of benefit to everybody that's hearing my voice tonight. So I'm kind of dressed up, so I wanted to give a bit of an explanation. Like, I don't normally wear a tie, but we had a wonderful listening circle this last Saturday. It was Dr. Sidney's first listening circle, where she's inviting folks within our community to share their vision, their ideas, suggestions, and there was a theme. We had over 30 people here. It was wonderful. But there was a theme about people want more reverence in the services. And so I decided to wear a tie. And hopefully the tone of what I'm going to talk about also sort of meets that expectation that it's very reverent. Anyway, freedom. What a day, right? It's the day before the 4th of July. It's a holiday. And again, I don't know about you, but you know, as a kid, this was always like a very exciting time. And so, bless Colleen Butler. Look at the prop she got for me tonight. Talk about spiritual fireworks, right? So again, it evokes, I think, for many of us, especially those of us that identify strongly as citizens of this country, you know, it evokes a very positive energy, a high vibration, the 4th of July. And for me too. And it's just loaded, it's packed. The concept of the holiday is packed with these ideas that are so meaningful to us here as in religious science. Freedom, independence, liberty. And then we've got this concept of our country, democracy. And, you know, I'll read the Ernest Holmes' prayer for our country later, where he talks, we're not just, you know, a legal structure or government structure. He calls us a spiritual democracy. You know, freedom and justice for all. The concept is absolutely brilliant and just resonates with all of us, right? Thank you, Sam. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about these concepts of freedom, independence, liberty, this concept of the democracy that our country represents, and then we will end with the concept of spiritual fireworks, because that's the title of my talk tonight. So to get us started, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the Mary Bullard Chapel, and if you haven't visited it, please do. It's an absolutely beautiful, sacred space that we've created here at the North Hollywood Church. But I was in conversation with two folks, and they said this, and they asked me this question. They were debating, and they said, "What do you think, Mark? Is there free will? Is there free will?" Now, in my head, I have this knee-jerk reaction like, duh, of course there's free will. I was taught that concept since I was a little kid going to Catholic school. Father Bird would talk about the Adam and Eve story and how, free will and eating the apple, that's what got us all in trouble. The original sin, that concept like that. And every, sort of religious figure in my life and the media, everybody talks about, free will, free will, free will. Of course we have free will. I've never even questioned it. I've never even questioned it. So believing in free will, have I made a choice to believe in free will if I've never questioned it? If I was influenced from a very young age that this is the truth? And so it got me thinking. I'm going to spend a little bit of time contemplating this question. Is there free will? And so one of the things that I did this week is I wanted sort of a devil's advocate, sort of an alternative point of view. And the concept that's counter to free will is called determinism. Sort of like you're fated to just live your life in a certain way based on your background, your experience, perhaps some of your biology, whether you've got any kind of conditions that allow you to do certain things versus not certain things. And there is this very well-educated, lauded scientist, Robert Sapolsky. He's a Stanford neurobiologist, and he's a MacArthur Genius Grant winner. He published a book just last year, and this is based on decades of work that he's done. The book is called Determined, remember determinism? Determined, A Science of Life Without Free Will. All right, got my attention. Here's a book review that summarizes the premise of the book. After more than 40 years of studying humans and other primates, Sapolsky has reached the conclusion that virtually all human behavior is as far beyond our conscious control as the convulsions of a seizure, the division of cells, or the beating of our hearts. This means accepting that a man who shoots into a crowd has no more control over his fate than the victims who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It means treating drunk drivers who barrel into pedestrians just like drivers who suffer a sudden heart attack and veer out of their lane. This is a quote from Sapolsky, the author. The world is really screwed up and made much, much, much more unfair by the fact that we reward people and punish people for things they have absolutely no control over. We've got no free will. Stop attributing stuff to us that isn't there. Interesting. Interesting concept, right? And so this got me thinking, this got me riffing on a whole bunch of hypotheticals, taking this concept seriously. And I started to think to myself, like, what if I was black instead of who I am and the skin color that I have? I probably would have had many more experiences with law enforcement, probably would have been pulled over driving for no good reason. And again, I'm kind of relying on some stereotypes here, but we know the data. I might even be incarcerated because it's much more likely that as a black man, I'd be incarcerated compared to who I am, the 67-year-old white guy who was raised in the suburbs of Chicago. What if I was a woman? And I would have made significantly less money in my corporate life than I was able to make as a white male. What if I was gay? And I am gay, by the way. So this is a hypothetical more for you.
Wait, what?
Later, Sam. But what if I was gay? Then it's more likely that I would, be clinically depressed and perhaps even suicidal. Because again, that sort of comes part and parcel of that characteristic. And so it really kind of got me down a road thinking, there is something to be said about what really is our choice? Where does free will enter into all of that in terms of our situation, our human condition, our biology? Again, he's a neurobiologist. He's tracking how this, these synaptic roadmaps that get created in our life because of the experiences that we have and things like that. This sort of, as he said earlier, there's a lot of just automatic choices that we're making, like our beating heart, etc. And so I started to think, I feel really jazzed about the 4th of July. But in large part, that's because of my background and who I was and how I was raised and the fun parades that we used to go to as kids. What if I was an African-American man who was taught by his family at a very young age that this concept of liberty and justice for all is BS? Certainly doesn't exist for you, Mark, young little black boy. And so maybe in seeing something like this, my reaction would have been not fun, not energy, but anger, resentment, unfairness, maybe fatigue. Like, oh my gosh, not again. Everybody's celebrating this holiday that I can't relate to. And again, would that be a choice? Or is that based on the conditions of that person's life and circumstances? Just like I'm starting to think that maybe, the fun and the energy that I get from looking at this and considering the holiday is because of my life circumstances. Again, I just found it fascinating, as I was contemplating this and thinking about this. And then, to make it even more complicated, what we teach here in this, Ernest Holmes talks about the race consciousness. This is, all the thoughts, all the biases, all the folklore that have existed since the dawn of creation. Every thought bias exists, and it is tucked down deep, deep, deep within our psyches. And to a certain extent, until you become conscious of how that's operating for you, that dictates how you make certain choices in your life. It dictates how you might feel about certain things. It dictates how you think about certain things. And so one of the things that I'm absolutely so thankful for in terms of my practitioner journey is I started to really examine some of those biases, examine some of those unconscious thoughts, and examine some of how the race consciousness is informing how I think about things and how I feel about things. So this is all a sort of almost a red herring that I'm throwing out to you, to almost argue that we don't have free will. So let me get back to the question. Do we have free will? Absolutely, we have free will.
Thank God.
And I wrote in my notes here, expletive, absolutely. Not real expletives, but just the words expletive, because we are in church and I'm committed to this idea of reverence. We absolutely have free will. But in order to understand how we have free will, let's dig down a little bit deeper. Let's get beyond sort of the experiences that we all go through in Humanville to talk about things metaphysically, to talk about our reality as spiritual beings, capital S, self, God as self, God within me. And so in order to get this deeper level, to peel the onion a little bit, I'm going to refer back to one of my recent teachers, and you've heard me talk about her before. It's a woman that has gone through a near-death experience. Bo, can I get the next slide, please? Nancy Rhines. So I think it was maybe December I talked about Nancy. She went through a horrific accident while she was riding her bicycle. And Nancy was a scientist. She was a confirmed atheist. And she had no time for God. She had no time for spirituality. But she was very injured, died on the operating table, and went to the great beyond, through the veil, and had discussions and meetings with spiritual teachers. And Nancy was told, you're going to have to come back. You agreed to that. She's going to be talking about that in a video clip I'll share with you in just a second. You're going to have to come back, and your role is you have to share these life lessons with, that's your purpose in life. And so she came back, and she wrote this book, Awakenings from the Light. It's an absolutely beautiful book. Some of you asked me for the whole clip to an hour-long interview with Nancy the first time I talked about her. I'm happy to share that with anybody that wants to learn more about her experience and her story. But, she gives a little bit of a sort of a summary. Most of my adult life, part of me hoped there was something more than just physical reality. Sorry, Doreen. Physical reality, but I never saw evidence for it. The skepticism remained until January 2014 when the divine gave me a wake-up call, an opportunity to return to spirit. Since my near-death experience, I have returned to a more spiritual and creative life based on the wisdom I learned in heaven. Now I'm writing and teaching about my experience of the divine. Bo, next slide, please. So these are the 12 life lessons that she writes about, and we've already covered some of those in my earlier talk. But the one I'm going to emphasize tonight is your most powerful tool is your power of choice. Next slide, please. And I'm going to let her explain it. She's able to explain it much more than I'm able to. And then we'll debrief and talk about what she shares with us. Go ahead and run the video.
And I was expecting at some point that either a deceased relative would come to claim me and take me somewhere else, or something would happen. It turns out that there was a figure that came up to me kind of from off to the side. She seemed to just come out of nowhere. And she came up to me and she gave me a big welcoming embrace of just love, and told me that she was going to be my teacher, that she would help me, learn what I needed to learn in order to continue my life on earth and make it one that I would be proud to live. And I kind of fixated on that. I said, wait a minute, you're going to send me back there? I don't want to go back there. And she said, well, you've already agreed to go back. And I told her, I don't remember that. I didn't agree to it now. I don't remember agreeing to going back there. She said, well, you agreed to do that before you were born. But my human self, Nancy, the atheist that I had just been, had never heard of this before. So I challenged her on it. I said, well, I don't remember agreeing to anything before I was born. So kind of in the air in front of me, it's very weird how this happened, but in the air in front of me, she showed me the time before I was born when I was agreeing to some of the things that I wanted to do and experience while I was in this life of Nancy. And one of the agreements that I had made was I would very likely turn away from spirituality or religion and be that way for quite a while. But I had 3 different points along that path where I had an opportunity to turn back and live a more spiritually connected life. The first time was when I was a teenager. That had come and gone. The second time was when my father died. And there were some things that happened during the time that he passed away. And that was really the point where I was supposed to make the transition back to a more spiritually connected life. And I didn't. I blew right past it. The things that I experienced when he died, I put them off to the side of my mind. I didn't want to deal with it. And so then the last thing I agreed to was, well, if I missed the first station and didn't turn to become a more spiritual person then, and if I missed the second point, then the third point would be the big moment, the accident, and I would have this experience and be sent back. And as soon as I saw this basically in the air in front of me, all the memories flooded back. And I remember being in the presence of all of my spiritual teachers. And I guess you would call it the presence of the divine was also there. And I agreed to these things. It's not like a contract, like where if you break it, you're going to be sued or anything. But it's really kind of a guidepost as to how you want to live your life. And so if you don't do things, it's okay. You just at some point have to do those things. That's what you want to learn. At some point, you're going to need to learn it, whether it's in this lifetime or some other way.
So you do make choices. You made choices before you came to this earth. So that whole idea about determinism, that, our life circumstances, who our parents were, what our environment is, and things like that, you chose that. You chose that. And again, we've talked before, at least I've talked before, and Dr. Mark talked before about, we need to think of ourselves not in terms of the day-to-day, like I got to go to Ralph's and get groceries and, should I take that new job and things like that. We are these spiritual seekers. And I've shared with you before that Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey. And we talk about the spiritual hero's journey. And how Dr. Mark said, we as spiritual seekers, we are attracting challenges in our life because it helps us grow and evolve spiritually. And so you made those choices around what those challenges might be before you were born. Now, I don't remember what I chose. I think I probably chose to be gay because I thought maybe being in that otherness would help me learn something, but I don't honestly remember, like Nancy. I didn't remember what those agreements are. But we'll be reminded of it. We will be reminded of it. And the other thing that I wanted to share about it, and I got this from Facebook, such a spiritual treasure chest of, wisdom, right? But I've seen this a couple of times, and so it just has signaled to me that I should share it. We often think about, or people sometimes struggle with, well, what is my purpose in life? I don't think I have clarity and things like that. Next slide, please, Bo. Emerson has a paragraph about, what is success. But I love this, too. I've seen this, like I said, a couple of times. What is my purpose in life? I asked the void. What if I told you that you fulfilled it when you took an extra hour to talk to that kid about his life, said the voice. Or when you paid for that young couple in the restaurant, or when you saved that dog in traffic, or when you tied your father's shoes for him. Your problem is that you equate your purpose with goal-based achievement. The universe isn't interested in your achievements, just your heart. When you choose to act out of kindness, compassion, and love, you are already aligned with your true purpose. No need to look any further. So if, again, you feel you're struggling with, what's my life's purpose, please, I invite you to be compassionate and kind to yourself. Just the choice about, are you following your heart? Are you being kind? Are you being compassionate? Are you living love, as we talk about, in terms of our final affirmation? That's our purpose in life. Nobody's keeping score. I've worked in with a lot of scientists and academics, and it's interesting, how people would define success. And again, our community is filled with people in entertainment. Are they defining, their purpose like I need that next job, or I need to get a patent, the scientists. I need to get this patent, or I need to be the first to publish this research. Again, I don't think that that's really the point when we're talking about this spiritual hero's journey. It's like, how are you conducting your life as you're going about experiencing those challenges, experiencing these difficult things that we all run into in Humanville. So, anyway, if there's any doubt, you have free will. You've made choices. You made choices way back. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about a concept that's related to freedom, and that's the concept of independence. 4th of July, Independence Day. And again, I found, I'm going to read at length from a talk that Ernest Holmes gave. So I know there's at least one person here who's new to our church, new to the faith. So Ernest Holmes is our founder. He gave this talk 87 years ago, almost to the day. It was July 4th, 1937, at the Wiltern Theater. And the topic was the spiritual meaning of freedom. And many of you know I sometimes channel or impersonate Ernest, so I'm gonna give it my best shot. Alrighty. I've read a large part of the religious and philosophical history of the world, and I've noticed that almost invariably, when the world traded one kind of religion for another, it didn't get a good deal. The Pilgrim Fathers who came to the shores of New England came to worship God in their own way. But the moment they got there, everybody in the colony worshiped God in the way that the strong-minded members of that colony decided was the way to worship God. That's not freedom. That's not the truth. In studying one system of thought after another that has transpired in the last 7,000 years of human history, I've noted how extremely difficult it is for the human mind to conceive liberty without license, without egotism. And we can only give birth to freedom when we have conceived liberty. True freedom, true liberty, has something cosmic behind it. If the time has come that modern science has proved that we cannot move a piece of paper without changing the balance of the entire physical universe, if we've come to that place where we know that the stuff of which our physical bodies are made is the same stuff of which the planets are made, if we have come to the place where such a profound unity is maintained that physicists believe that there is no such thing as disunity in the physical world, then we can easily see what the greater spiritual leaders of the ages meant when they told us of that greater unity in which we all live and move and have our being. And that the idea of freedom itself is tied up with the true concept of the unity of good. If our nature is one, if God is one, and we know that God must be one, for the universe cannot be divided against itself, then we are all tied into an indivisible unity. We shall have to get back to this unity to find the meaning of freedom. Nothing in any part of this cosmic whole could be considered freedom that would destroy the liberty of some other part of it. Consequently, we are one even when we are many. And since each one of us is a part of the whole, if we seek to destroy each other, we only ultimately hurt ourselves. That is the great lesson of life. Freedom, then, will come only in such degree as we no longer do anything that hurts anyone. The evolution of freedom in the human mind is a slow process. Many movements in the world that claim to be seeking liberty only produce new kinds of bondage. We should beware of them. They are born out of the idea of depression. They are born out of the spirit of bondage. If we want freedom, we must understand that freedom can never come by the imposition of a will of the minority over the majority. It is born finally, and only in such degree as some system is devised whereby individuals are allowed complete freedom so long as they do not, in their freedom, impose bondage on someone else. I don't know about you. I love that message. I love that teaching. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room or watching who can appreciate that his words are reverberating just as strongly at this moment in the history of the planet and of the USA, where it appears there are forces at work to create and impose bondage on some, and where we see and experience an appearance of the will of the minority over the majority. So that brings us to this moment in time, and some strong and conflicting feelings you may be having, and that I am certainly having, about recent events. It's an election year. There was a presidential debate last week. The Supreme Court has delivered some interesting historical and controversial judgments just this week and last, and it can feel extremely overwhelming. And it could, for some of you, for me, can lead to despair and hopelessness. Where's this country going? What's it come to? And so, just to cut through it, Bo, next slide, please. I created this affirmation for us, and I want us to say all this together. So I'll read it. And again, I have a lot of hyphens, because again, sometimes I can't find the one word that I think represents what I'm trying to say. And again, especially in expressing God. You know, God, there's so many different God qualities and manifestations of God that live in me, that live in you. And so I'll read it, and then I'll invite all of us to read it together. God, source, spirit, good, love, has a power, a presence, an influence in my life, the life of the USA and the world, greater than any presidential candidate, any Supreme Court justice, any politician or judge, or any political party. I am an embodiment of, an expression of God, source, spirit, good, love. I know and declare this truth for myself, for everyone gathered here today, and for all people in the USA and on the planet. So I invite everybody to say that with me. God, source, spirit, good, love, has a power, presence, influence in my life, the life of the USA and the world, greater than any presidential candidate, any Supreme Court justice, any politician or judge, or any political party. I am an embodiment of, an expression of God, source, spirit, good, love. I know and declare this truth for myself, for everyone gathered here today, and for all people in the USA and on the planet. So, if you are disturbed by what's going on right now, I remind you of what you ought to do. We have such great tools as these spiritual seekers, as these, each one of us on our spiritual hero's journey. Remember the end game. Remember the end game. It's not just about this election. It's bigger than that. Bigger than that. But you know the tools, you know the weapons that we have. I hate to use the war metaphors. You know the tools that we have. Take it to prayer. Meditate. Forgive. Find in your heart where you might be angry or resentful, and forgive yourself to start, and forgive the object of whatever you might be thinking about. Don't give in to despair. Seek to release anger and resentment, release despair and hopelessness, and pray for our country and pray for our leaders. And so this brings me to, Ernest Holmes wrote a prayer for our country. And I forgot to look up when he wrote this. But again, the concept of our country, democracy, is an absolutely beautiful, brilliant idea. Believing is seeing. Again, let's hold on to the concept. Let's hold on to the idea, and it will manifest. It will demonstrate. We have the power to do that. So again, let me try to channel Ernest a little bit. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this, my prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activity of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and the divine heritage of everyone in this country, that they are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that personal freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. Each is impelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. Thank you, Ernest. And so now is the time for prayer. But again, you know me, I kind of sometimes try different stuff. So I have something different to try tonight. So, Bo, can you bring us the next slide? And I invite, this is normally, we'd invite folks to sort of close their eyes, but I have this animated mandala that, to me, kind of echoes fireworks. And again, the idea was planted in my mind by Jeannie Laporte, longtime member of this church and practitioner, sometimes goes by Gigi Lapie. Anyway, she's posting these things on Facebook all the time, and I'm like, that's how I'm going to end my service. So what I invite you to do is, again, it's quite enthralling to just sort of like gaze into this beautiful animation. And I want you to envision that this is the power, the presence, the principle of God in you. So again, see if you can just connect with that image as I say our final prayer. And Bo, I don't know if you can, but if you can lower the house lights a little bit while we do this. Oh, what a magnificent day. Recognizing the power, the presence, the principle of God right where I am, right here on this holy ground, whether you're physically here in the space with me now or whether you're watching this broadcast live through Zoom, through Facebook Live, through YouTube, or whether you're watching it later. Know that you are on holy ground, that you are the power, the presence, the principle of God, source, light, spirit, good, love. This is the absolute truth of the universe. It is the absolute truth of every being in the universe. And I know that as these beings of God, that we are absolutely free, that we have made our choices on the spiritual hero's journey to grow, to evolve, and we are attracting those challenges that allow us to move forward, to rise up, to move up, to grow in love, to grow in spirit, to grow in compassion, to grow in kindness. And we say no to the appearances out there in the media or the political noise that might be going on. We say no to it. This is not the truth of who and what we are. This is not the truth of our country. This is not the truth of the planet. I know this to be true. The truth is, we are all connected. We are all part of one great unity. We are all connected to God. And I know that anything that I do has an influence on others. And it is all good. I choose good. I know everyone that's listening to my voice chooses good, chooses kindness, chooses compassion. We rise up together as one. I am grateful to be a citizen of the United States of America. I am grateful for this church and this teaching. I am grateful for every member of our community. I am grateful to Dr. Sidney. I am grateful for Dr. Mark. I am so grateful for everybody that comes together to help make our community as vibrant and rich and loving and warm as it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, with a heart full of joy and gratitude, overflowing with energy, positive energy, I release my word into the law of mind, knowing it is done. And so together we say, Amen.
I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
It's time for affirmative giving. So I invite you with your offering, with your tithe, with your gift, go ahead and place it over your heart, and then please say the statement of affirmative giving with me. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. Thank you.
I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Imagine we're in heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Oh, imagine all of the people living in life and peace. You may say that I am a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one, 'cause I know this day they'll all join us, and the world is one. Imagine no possessions. I don't know if I can. No need for greed or hunger. We are a brotherhood and sisterhood of man. Imagine all of the people sharing all of the world. but I know I'm not the only one, 'cause I know this day they'll all join us, and the world is one. Sing it with me now. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I know someday they'll join us, and the world is one. Oh, imagine what
Beautiful.
What an incredible rendition of an already great song. Jamie Lula
Yeah.
and the fabulous Susan Martin Edwards, thank you.
Susan Edwards, Martin.
And the staff and the volunteers and the very person I forgot to bless and invoke during the prayer. When's ministerial school start for you? Pasha. That was fabulous. Thank you, Mark. So for today, Wednesday, July 3rd, the day before, the eve of July 4th, on your bulletin you will see how to make donations to our church through our text to give, QR code, or through our website, nhcrs.org/give. Prayer with the practitioner is available after service in the sanctuary and on Zoom. Every Sunday at 9:45 a.m., our junior church is open. If you have babies, kids, or teens, we have a place for them all. Wednesday, Taze service with practitioner Joanne O'Brien. Meditation 6:50, service 7 p.m. Join us next week for a wonderful evening of chanting, meditation, and prayer. There will be a potluck following, so please bring a dish to share. Don't miss this class, spiritual practices class with Reverend Christine Pena on Zoom beginning Tuesday, July 16th. This 8-week class will meet from 6:30 to 9 p.m. and will support you in developing lifetime habits of meditation and spiritual mind treatment. Treatment for yourself is strengthened, and you'll advance to providing treatment for others. Sign up online today. Cost is $245 or 2 installments of $135 each. Our women's group will not meet this Sunday. The next meeting will be August 4th. Our men's group is on hiatus until September. The church office will be closed on July 4th. Happy Independence Day. And our Zoom virtual patio before and after Sunday and Wednesday services. Zoom meditation meets every morning, Monday through Saturday from 7:55 to 8:15 a.m. Visit our website, nhcrs.org, for Zoom links, information, and to sign up for weekly e-blasts and monthly newsletters. Ta-da. Thank you.
All right, let's stand and sing.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now.
you, Susan. Thank you, Jamie. So we go forth in the world this week, just carrying that love, carrying that spirit, carrying that goodness, forgiveness for ourselves and others. We just know that we are emissaries of peace. We are all one, and we are those warriors moving forward despite any appearances to the contrary, any stuff in the media, anything going on politically. We know we are warriors for peace. We are warriors for love, and we just carry that forward. Our week is blessed. Our time is blessed. We are so fortunate to have one another in this community. It is great. It is good. So with a heart full of joy and gratitude, I release my word into the law of mind, knowing it is done. And so together we say, Amen. And so now, please repeat after me. I am at home in the heart of God.
I am at home in the heart of God.
My life is anchored in truth.
My life is anchored in truth.
I can never be separate.
I can never be separate.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I release all fear.
I release all fear.
I am living love.
I am living love.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Woo!